Hi, this is Daniel Rowe with TradeThePlan.com. I wanted to make you guys a quick video, just kind of giving you an update about what's going on, when we might be releasing the next big update, which will be soon, will be this month, and address a couple of concerns that some of you guys have where you've written in and have yet to receive a response. I think what might be happening is that our responses are going into your spam folder. At least that was a problem not long ago that we've since corrected. Well, I guess I corrected it about 2 weeks ago. The DMARC, the DKIM records were not set up properly. So anyway, that's been fixed. If you haven't received a response from us, it could be in your spam folder. If you haven't, just please write back in. We normally respond within about 24 hours, maybe 2 days. If it's over the weekend, maybe 3 days. But we do answer all of the support requests. So I know I haven't made a video in quite some time, and you guys are surely wondering what's going on. I have been working quite a lot, and you'll see the fruits of those efforts here in a moment. The logic manager is the main thing that we've been working on, and I'll get to that in a moment. First, I want to show you, this is something that people have been asking for that we did have working at some point in the past, but I think one of the updates to NinjaTrader messed it up, or it wasn't 100%, but we've really nailed this down. And now the problem where the Divergence Analyst wasn't working properly in NinjaTrader's market analyzer is completely fixed. So you can now use the Divergence Analyst to scan, whatever list of markets that you bring into the market analyzer here, and it's working quite well. Anyway, that's all fixed. And one of the cool things about the market analyzer now, this didn't used to work in the past, but you can save. So the trick with this is you want all, and there are a lot of settings, you want all of the settings and properties to be exactly the same within the Divergence Analyst and the market analyzer as they are on the actual chart. So I have this simple workspace that's coming with the Divergence Analyst installer and the Master Suite installer. What is it called? Just the Divergence Div Analyst Scanner. I've got a 5-minute, a 15-minute, and then a daily and a weekly. You can delete those if you want. But the two that I have on here, the 5-minute and the 15-minute, since you can only have, well, there are a number of data series. You could set it up to do both hidden. Let me double check that. You've got to set one data series as the input. So if you did use like single regular divergence, you could get both the setup and the trigger from the one data series, but you couldn't get both, regular divergence and hidden divergence in the same data series. Maybe we'll make a data series that can handle all of the signals. I think we can do that, actually. That's a good idea. But anyway, you've got so many different data series. There are obviously 3 different types of regular divergence. You have single, double, and triple, and those can be fine-tuned and tweaked a number of different ways within the settings. There are so many different settings in this thing. When I was creating this, I wanted to be able to find every single exact divergence instance, that I can see with my eyes, but doing that programmatically is quite an ordeal. This was probably one of the most difficult things that I've developed. Akash too, our programmer as well. It's pretty intense. But anyway, what you can do now is, say I wanted to add, these are both looking for regular divergence with a gapless RSI. If I wanted to now show hidden divergence, which I do want to, I can save this for the 15-minute as a preset. You can only save one. So, once you set up one the way that you want it, and it has all the properties exact compared to what they are on the chart, you can save it, add a new one. So I'll just show you this right now. And it has all of those properties set. See, it's even got the name set. So now let's see, I'll change the name. I'm going to change this first to hidden divergence setups until the trigger. So what's cool about the Divergence Analyst, I've seen where people have strangely built a divergence engine with very similar properties to what I have in this one, but they have one for hidden divergence and one for regular divergence. And they pride themselves on being so inexpensive. But then if you wanted to have both, you're looking at about the same price that we charge for the one that has both. But since we've got them both combined, I can also show what's called hidden to regular divergence. And I'll show you, well, here's a perfect example of that right here. So this is a hidden divergence followed by a regular divergence. So that's even a data series in here. And those will show up, in fact, in both of these regular divergence columns. So for both of these, you have every single regular divergence, including the hidden to regular divergence. You have a hidden to regular single, and then a hidden to double regular. I'm not going to go into the details of all that, but just to show you now how this works. So we have hidden divergence setups until trigger. All the properties should be the same. And now I just need two, really, bullish or bearish. So it's copied all of the ones from the other one, which is looking at all of these different signals. And that's the one bearish regular divergence after hidden. And then the double one is right here, bullish double regular divergence after hidden. All right, so I'm going to remove all of these. So this is actually bearish hidden divergence. And this is bullish hidden divergence. Okay. And you don't need that many bars. So 700 is plenty, really. It's the bare minimum number of bars that you can load. And everything else should be fine. Yep, it copied all the properties. Okay, so this is the 15-minute hidden div gapless RSI. There we go. So that may take a couple of minutes until we find one. Well, it could take up to 15, 30 minutes until we find one. Let's see what this looks like. Google. So this is the 15-minute on the left, 5-minute on the right. So you can see the bullish regular divergence there on the 5-minute, and then there on the 15-minute. It's picking that up nicely. On the 5-minute, you've got this triple NVIDIA. On the 5-minute, you've got a double divergence, as you can see. This is now, what else? I guess that's it for now. I'll come back to that after I've recorded a bit about this logic manager. So that's cool, right? I know you guys are going to be happy about that. It's something I really wanted to get done for this next release. Okay. So I have 2 workspaces open, well, 3. And because I'm using the window manager with the toolbar, I've got the layout saved with both the ES and CL, crude oil and the S&P 500 futures, stored in these window manager buttons. So since I haven't saved these windows in this other, Divergence Analyst scanner workspace, these buttons that I've stored all of the positions for all of the other charts that I've saved really won't affect these windows. So I'm just going to minimize these for now, and then we'll come back to that and hopefully see some hidden divergent signals. Okay, I wanted to go ahead and cut this out and stick it in here so that you can see how it looks after about an hour or so. We have multiple hidden divergent signals now from the 15-minute chart, which is awesome. I know a lot of you guys are really going to like this. That's AMD, bearish hidden divergence, lower highs in price, higher high in this case, the gapless RSI. AMD, bullish hidden divergence, higher lows in price, lower low in the gapless RSI. Facebook, hidden divergence, bearish, bullish hidden divergence in Guild, and then whatever this is, Mu, bearish hidden divergence. So very cool, huh? I know you guys are going to dig that. All right. Yeah, I've got the ES, crude oil, and each one of these buttons has a certain layout saved for the different charts that I have open. I guess I saved up to five layouts. All right, so what I want to do, you can see that I have the ES loaded in here in this logic manager. I want to now load the crude oil, and I'll show you that in a moment. Let me just tell you a little bit about what this does. For those of you that have the master suite, and I guess the Divergence Analyst installer has these templates in it as well, but I had one Bloodhound template for every minute chart within every workspace. And that Bloodhound template I've called the operative time frame signal. What it's looking for is basically like an ABC corrective pattern on every time frame that falls within a certain number of bars, which is about 25 to 115 bars that makes up the pattern. Those bars make up the pattern, 25 to 115 bars. So let me load now crude oil. And you can see this is the logic activator, but that's exactly what it does. It activates the logic for a given market. And I've built out 25 workspaces. So 25 different instruments. And I've got the process down to a very precise and minimal number of steps to create a new workspace. And because we have, we've eliminated all of those operative time frame Bloodhound templates, which is about 7 per workspace per instrument. And now we're left with just the one market geometry Bloodhound template, and then the one final volume and momentum confirmation Bloodhound template, which I'll show you that in a moment. The performance improvement is quite dramatic. I think you guys will be very, very happy to get this update. So we have built in a number of kind of auto-correcting functionalities within this deal, such that if you're missing what's called the logic agent indicator from each chart, it will add it for you. And you can even build out your own workspaces or use some of your older workspaces and load the logic agents and apply this operative time frame logic for whatever workspace and instrument that you want. So it's pretty universal now, and it's going to be getting better and better as time goes on. It's going to be getting hopefully to the point in the not too distant future that you'll be able to add your own conditions and rule sets to this thing and kind of make whatever you want. So now that that's been added and verified, it will load here, and I'm turning them on, and there we go. So now you can see I've got a potential long. Doesn't mean go long. This is only one part of the process, and that's here, and that's on the 138-minute chart. So it doesn't mean go long. It means that we have a potential ABC, and it looks to me like it's just about to get to the point that it's about 100 and something bars. Let's see, 89 bars. So that's going to be allowed up until we hit about 115 bars, and it won't allow it to begin with unless it's at least 25 bars from the start of the pattern to the potential end of the pattern. And that's why you're seeing that first one here. So this would be like the first step in all of the things that are required for us to be able to take a trade. And then depending upon which chart these operative time frame signals occur, that chart determines what are the requisite confirming conditions that must be met, and then what the general size of the stop loss should be, where the placement should be, and what size target we're looking for. So that's all chart dependent, operative time frame dependent. How much risk on the trade, the size of the trade, how far away the target is, where the stop should be, all dependent upon which is the operative time frame for that trade. And the fact that we now have it running within this logic manager, sort of independent of Ninja, really, even. It's sort of like our reader system, for those of you that are familiar with it, where we basically have one instance per chart, per indicator, per data series, and then combining all of those different reader instances for the different data series from our indicators and different charts that we need within a particular Bloodhound template. Because we're not having to do that now, the logic manager is kind of the reverse of that. Rather than having one reader per chart, per indicator, per data series, we now have one logic agent per chart, which acts sort of like an API to the chart, if you will. It's which is also why it has to be at the bottom of the list. It's able to give us access to all of the data points from all of the indicators above it, as long as they have data series. Then we can read those data series, and also all of the bar data and volume data. So we have one instance per chart that gives us all of the data for that chart, as opposed to one reader instance, again, per chart, per indicator, per data series. So this is eliminating just a huge amount of overhead that has increased performance dramatically. To talk about performance in relative terms, percentage, it's a bit tricky. I guess you could say it takes about 25 to 30% less resources to run our master suite workspaces and indicators now than it did before this. So that's quite a bit faster, really exceptionally faster. All right, so you'll see that we have the ability to send the chart to maximize and then return it back to its previous position. So this will eventually be like a kind of a cockpit, if you will. And a lot of different ways you could do that. You could bring it to the logic manager itself like this. And if you have another couple of monitors and you have charts on those monitors like this one, that will bring it over to this monitor and then send it back. So a lot of different options with that. Probably the next thing that we'll add will be a kind of universal alert system. Right now, we don't have sound alerts. We just have visual alerts. Building a sound alert for this is not so straightforward because it's not necessarily, an indicator on a chart. It's pretty elaborate. So a lot of different settings, but really the main thing that you need to know about it is that it is replacing what was one of our largest performance overhead issues, the fact that I had so many different Bloodhound templates on all of these different charts. And it's not that we're getting rid of Bloodhound at all. I'm just trying to alleviate, the performance overhead. And in doing that, we've fixed quite a number of different issues with some of the other tools and our core logic. But the next evolution of this will be it's cool. So hang on a second. Right now, I'm actually getting a potential long signal to go along with that Min 6 chart, the 138-minute chart. And this is by no means a proper entry signal. I mean, I doubt it. Oh, one other thing I added to the toolbar is the ability to maximize the chart and bring it right back with a hotkey. So let me do this. So I've assigned a hotkey right here to maximize the chart. So now, rather than having to, come over here and hope you don't click on that X, but if I do, I make it pop up a message. I don't know why they don't turn that on by default. They should. Real quick, let me just show you that because that's really important for you guys to know. Tools, options. Yeah, it's general right there at the top. Confirm on window or tab close. Make sure that's checked. It'll save you so much trouble. And I know that this kind of charcoal gray is charcoal black, pretty ugly with Ninja's default skin. So I use this slate light skin. I think it's slate dark by default. So that just makes it look a little bit, neater. Anyway, all right. So all you have to do is click the chart, hit the hotkey. Whoops, that's the wrong hotkey. And then it will maximize. Hit it again, and it snaps it back. Click on a different chart, maximizes that one. Click it again, it sends it back. So anyway, that all works perfectly now. And what else have we added to the toolbar? Probably not a lot that you'll notice, but we've fixed a number of things with pretty much every tool. The next big thing that we'll do after releasing the Logic Manager, and the next step, right, let me get back to what I was about to say. The next evolution will be to modify these confirmation Bloodhound templates for the volume and divergence signals. So I've refined this template for all of the markets quite a bit. I mean, if you guys remember, or if you look at the one that you have now, you have two of them. one on the row one on the row two, and they're both pretty massive. So I've slimmed that down dramatically and not really lost any accuracy, I'd say. But to make it more accurate, I do need a bit more precision. And yeah, that'll be the next step, adding that to the logic manager. All right. So yeah, on this bar, this does not, again, these signals don't mean, go long automatically here. It just means that we have from one of the operative time frames, in this case, the min 6 chart right there, which you can see from here, we have a potential C wave low. And at this point, we now have all of the confirmation conditions necessary to initiate a trade. The final piece would be, are we at an area in the market geometry? And I would say, no, not yet. I want to see it come down at least to the bottom of that channel, probably more like the trend line from low to low there, or even the bottom of this channel. And then I would do a parallel from that lowest low, which is really like a double bottom there. So somewhere in this area here, and you can see the larger upsloping channel that I'm looking for is right there. So before I would even think about going long, I'd have to see it come down to that area. But, that's a pretty massive retracement from the end of the month. Was that the 29th at the high? So really, if you're day trading, you're not looking for longs by any means. Now, crude, we had a beautiful setup in crude Friday, right at the close. So let me show you that before I hang it up here. I can't help but go into talking about trades and whatnot. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. And look at me now. All right, so that would be Friday. The high on Friday, this is the hourly chart, min 5. And we had been coming down since, what is that, the 23rd, 24th? But really, before that, we made it up to about 132 or something. What was it? No, not quite 130, 129. So yeah, coming down, down, down. And we haven't taken out that low yet. But Friday, we pulled back right to this downsloping upper median line and the top of that upsloping channel. That's picture perfect what we're looking for in the market geometry. So that's exactly what I'm looking for in the market geometry. And then that's the ES. Yeah, then here, I love using that maximize, minimize now. So this is the 30-minute. I don't need that one. This is the 15-minute RTH chart. And that is the perfect 2-bar pattern on a tiny retracement. It's tiny on this chart. It's about, what, 29 bars? 32. So about 30 bars on the 15-minute RTH chart. And it's perfect. I mean, look at that. So I didn't connect to that high here because it opened up at that price at the high. So I connected to the high of the next bar that's actually closing up. So that's the highest close of the day that day. So I connected to that bar, and then that's what we have pulled back into by what, maybe a tick or two, a couple of ticks through it. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. And then you can see just on this 10-minute chart. So that's not the highest high here. That's the highest high between these two lows. So we almost made it to that channel. In fact, the market geometry Bloodhound template does pick that up, but I would at least drag it to this high or do a copy of it. And all these yellow lines are also, how do you want to say it, visible within those Bloodhound templates. The Bloodhound templates have solvers in them that can read when a bar is touching or within a certain distance. I think it's like a third of an average range per bar from these lines, from these yellow lines. And then, of course, it reads the baselines and the auto lines of the channels by default, and then the upper and lower median lines. So yeah, that's your upsloping area perfectly. And then that's your downsloping area perfectly. And then of course you have the volume confirmation. So that's the tick 2. Look at that big churn bar right at the high Friday. And then there is your 2-bar pattern at the high. And the tick chart just nails it perfectly to the tick right at the top of the channel. It's exactly what we're looking for. And now the faster charts even pulled back to that kiss goodbye line early this morning. But anyway, that is the upsloping tiniest channel, smallest channel on the 2-minute chart, which is actually a huge channel. Look at that. It's over 280 ticks from 10 a.m. Friday to the high just before the close at 1:30 Friday. And then your big churn bar right at the high. And all of that comes together for a signal on that row 2 chart, which is here. So there it is. You can bring these up a little bit. Now you see these signals all over the place. What seems like it's all over the place. These are simply looking at, so the top panel, that's the divergence, volume, and the operative time frame signals. So D, divergence, V, volume, and then the OTF. Those are those logic manager bars on the sub panel of all the minute charts. So just to reiterate that right here, those two little, they almost look like bloodhound, really. At some point, we'll add the ability to draw, dots, arrows, drawing objects, whatever. But for now, it's simply giving a positive 1 for long, negative 1 for short. And then we're able to read those within Bloodhound. And these are all the conditions. So these are the operative time frame conditions. These are the volume divergence. Volume divergence conditions. By the way, at some point this year, within the next couple of months, once I finish all the documentation, we will release all of this. It's going to be before the end of April that we'll release everything. But at some point this year, I'm also going to start doing some consulting again for Bloodhound and Blackbird, and I guess just trading in general. But that's kind of how I started, was doing that initially. Back in 2013, working with Bloodhound users, building out custom trading signal strategies, whatever, according to the end user's specs. So I'll start doing that again here soon at some point, part-time. But right now I'm focusing on getting all the documentation done so that we can release this without, a lot of headache. So these are all the churn signals. These are all the high density climax, extreme density climax, and then the 2-bar pattern signals, all these. And then here we have all of the momentum divergence signals from all the different charts. So depending upon which time frame is the operative time frame of the chart, I knew I just did that. There we go. So depending upon which is the operative time frame for the chart, a certain set of conditions is then necessary to confirm that operative time frame. So the operative time frame determines what condition set is then needed to allow the signal. And then if that signal aligns with the signal in the bottom panel, which is showing us when we have a bar that's touching 2 or more areas in the market geometry. So if you're getting both signals like we are here, we've got the areas in the market geometry coming together on multiple charts. It's like 4 or 5 different charts at that spot right there, together with the volume and momentum divergence confirmation signal. Then we would have enough for a trade. And look how overbought it is on the VWAP too, right at the end of the day. It's perfect. So that would be one that I would definitely hold overnight, and I'd still be short, I'm sure. So yeah, that's just a little bit about what's up, what's happening. So yeah, just wanted to get you guys caught up. I should have done this a long time ago. I'm sorry that I haven't, but again, if you're having trouble with support, please write us to support@tradetheplan.com, and we'll get responded to you just as soon as we can. All right, you guys, hope this finds you well. Look forward to catching up with you again soon. and getting all this stuff released to you. I know this is an update that is sorely needed and is going to be warmly welcomed. So I'm looking forward to getting this in your hands so that you can, experience some of the performance overhead improvements and, yeah, make use of the new stuff. All right. Take care. Bye.